So Jayce versus Neeko is actually one of the harder Jayce matchups that you can play because of the fact that Neeko beats you in the lane, she beats you in the 2v2s, and it's very easy for her to play the skirmishes to counter Jayce because she has the ability to engage and forms very high threat upon him. So the reason why this is a really annoying matchup as well is because in the lane, Neeko actually has the ability to poke you out heavily with her short cooldown on the Q. What kind of starting items do we take? We always take Doran's Shield against Neeko. Neeko is too strong in the early lane to not take Doran's Shield against. We need to respect her because if she is a good Neeko and she will be landing a lot of her Qs, we're gonna struggle in general. It's also really important in my opinion that we take second wind against Neeko. If we do not take second wind, we're gonna get absolutely bullied and we're gonna really struggle. As for the runes, we can take both First Strike and Phase Rush. In my opinion, the most consistent one is Phase Rush plus Resolve Secondary. I've had the most success with that one, but you could theoretically also run First Strike with Secondary Resolve, but it's a bit, it doesn't synergize too well. I really like to have the sorcery tree in general on Jayce, and I think First Strike gives us a lot of possibilities also with trading patterns, because what happens with Neeko is she's going to be very reliant around her Q, and she needs to get into range to Q, and we can possibly, if she mis-tethers, go onto her with Hammer Form and start trading into the Neeko. And Phase Rush really helps with it. The mindset that we want to have in this matchup is that we want to minimize, because we cannot really play to win. If you see, for example, Knight play Jayce against Neeko, he'll play to win, but that's because he's mechanically so confident that he's able to dodge Neeko Qs and Neeko Es, that unless we are able to do that, it's practically impossible to play that fast against a Neeko, because her damages are just way higher in this stage of the game. When it comes to waves, if we can get the early push, it's good, because that's gonna force Neeko to pay a bit more attention towards last hitting. But if we cannot get the early push, we shouldn't try to force it. Just let yourself get pushed in. Try the CS. The most important thing is that our first reset is really good. When our first reset is really good, we get, for example, tier plus longsword and refillable potion. We're actually in a pretty good position. Because the most important thing in this matchup is that we get our resets correctly, that we don't miss out on too many minions. It's pretty hard for Neeko to kill us, but she will be poking us out over and over and over again. And a final tip that I really have is that we gotta run mercs pretty quickly. The faster we have mercs, the easier it is for us to survive in this lane. Neeko in general really gets countered by mercs because her poke is all flat magic damage. And the Mercs also works really well against her E CC and her ult CC. So Mercs is a go-to. And then on a final note, we can also dodge out on her Q by using our Hammer Form Q. So we can respond towards her queuing. But that's really hard to do. And that's only really something that we can feasibly, consistently do in the very high elos. Very tough matchup. I understand if you guys have any questions about this, let me know and I'll definitely get back to you.